Hey, everybody. That wasn't the start.
That was
We're,
the that was
we're
it.
doing it.
That is the first thing that our podcast is gonna that's what we have.
Oh, you really trusted putting this in my hands and I blew it from go. Okay, well, I guess it's all downhill from here. We're doing it. We have a podcast. Here we are. This is the Designed Happy podcast where we're going to talk about design, home architecture, home remodeling, but probably mainly nonsense. Yeah. How are you feeling so far? How do you think this is going?
Are you asking the people or are you asking me?
Oh, I'm asking you.
Oh, I think it's going great. This is super on brand.
Yes. I think the first thing you're supposed to do in a podcast, along with staying on brand, is make sure people know who you are. And even though we are local, if not global celebrities, we probably should let the people know. I'll go first. I'm Katie Cashin, and I'm the Director of Happiness at Designed Happy. And you're TJ Monahan.
I am. Yep.
The, the
Yep. Since I was born.
Since you were born, since the day you were born.
Yep.
What do you do?
I'm an architect. And so on Instagram, here's what I wrote because I thought I was super clever once. Architect, author, housemaker nicer. So if somebody asks me what I do and I'm feeling a little silly, that's normally what I say.
Housemaker nicer.
Yeah, soup's profesh.
I like that. I like that because we'll get into more of like what you actually do, the resume, I don't know, LinkedIn profile version of what you do and how you got here. I think the Instagram bios are probably the most accurate though, and the most human. I don't know what mine says right now. At one time it said I have like songs, sweets, and stories to share.
Okay.
And I liked that, but then I stopped baking, so I didn't really have sweets to
There
share.
go the sweets.
And it's pretty important that it be accurate. If you're going to be on the social medias, you need to be honest. You need to be as accurate and truthful as possible. Okay, so we're here to, like we said, talk design, home remodeling, uh, new home construction. But what else? What else will we be doing here?
Whatever we want, Katie.
That's right, because we're adults and it's our podcast.
So the real answer is there are so many things interwoven into the things that you just said, into home design and remodeling and new construction that people never ever think about that can make or break the experience that they have. And I think those things are what I really care about. I want to talk about the things that nobody else is talking about that's going to help the people listening and watching have better relationships to their home.
Oh, that's exciting. I like that. This, okay. So what's the stuff that feels unhelpful, I guess, to talk about? What's the stuff that it feels like every other design podcast is talking about that is not what we're here for?
I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that stuff too.
But we want it to be said here, we don't want to talk about that stuff. Okay. I like that. That sounds super helpful. I would, as someone who is not, this is not my professional background, this is not my schooling and education, I'd listen to this podcast. I'm intrigued so far.
Good. That's your unbiased opinion.
Yeah, totally.
Perfect.
Completely.
Perfect.
And
Since you mentioned it, Katie,
yeah,
what did you do before?
like how long before? How long before? How far back do we want to go? No, okay, we'll just go like mid back, as the kids would say. Professionally trained and schooled as a licensed therapist. Still do that a little bit and for fun. And I started a group mental health practice in near Baltimore, Maryland, and did that for like 11 years, I think, total. And that was lovely and fun and a great experience. And learned that a lot of people come to therapy when they are renovating their home. Um, but got to a point where I wanted to kind of do more than that, wanted to try out something different, and wanted to put the like business owner and management and organizational systems and structures skills that I learned through owning a private practice, owning a group practice, to work in a different way. And that's how I ended up at Designed Happy as the director of happiness.
To our good fortune.
Ah, shucks. Totally unbiased opinion. How did you get here, TJ? How did you end up doing doing this? Longer answer.
Longer answer, and doesn't have to be longer. So I'm doing the only thing I've ever wanted to do for my whole life. If anyone reads my bio on our website, the only caveat is I thought maybe I'd play center field for the Yankees. But as it turns out, you have to be able to hit a baseball to play that sport in any kind of competitive level, and I couldn't do that. So that
Such
dream was,
gatekeeping.
yeah, right, quickly thwarted, and I became an architect. So I went to school for architecture. You and I went to the same school in
Did.
DC,
Go
and
Cardinals.
go Cardinals. Go look it up, people.
Is that?
And I got 2 degrees in architecture, and then I worked as an architect for a long time. I worked as the people on YouTube or LinkedIn or will see my heavy air quotes for the people listening. I'll say heavy air quotes. I worked as a normal architect for a long time, designing super high-end single-family homes in and around the DC metro area. And then 2008 happened, and no one was really building super high-end single-family homes anymore. So I did commercial work for a couple of years. I also taught architecture back at the school we went to. And once the economy started to get better, I found on accident design, build, remodeling. And I learned about remodeling for the second half of my career pre-Designed Happy. So what we're doing here, how I got here, is I have a pretty strong opinion about how to help people have the best experience possible in their home. And I took all of the new construction stuff I learned and all of the remodeling stuff I learned and mixed them in a bowl with my opinions, and out came Designed Happy.
A beautiful cake of, of of like real personalized high quality experience, home design experience,
That's right.
or like baked good of your choice. Wow. What at this point, now that you're in it and doing it, and it's not just a dream and it's not just I don't know, something you ideate on in your time outside of the job you have to do. Um, what do you love about it now?
Um, a lot. There's a lot. So it's very different. I'm sure you had a similar experience when you started your business. There's so much that you can't expect,
Yeah.
that you have to learn on the job. But the parts that I thought I would love, that I do love, are I don't have to ask anyone else if I have an idea that I think would be fun to do. So we did an after school architecture class for kids. I didn't need to ask permission for that. I asked for input from people, but I didn't ask permission to do it. I thought it would be interesting and fun, and it was. We, as you know, have a comic strip,
Yeah.
right? We thought that would be a fun thing to do. We didn't have to ask permission to do it. In my previous lives, that would have been an email and then a meeting and then another meeting and then other people would have joined. Is this something that we want to spend our time on? And now it's just, hey, this is an idea. It feels like it's on brand. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but let's try it.
Mm-hmm.
So that part for me is super fun because maybe as you've realized, there's no shortage of ideas.
Here we are.
Here we are.
I don't know, not to, this feels like a really a forced thread, but I swear it's not. But that seems very true and again, on brand with how we work with clients. Like, as someone who is more like of the lives in a home, doesn't design them, I would expect the experience of creating my home, I would feel like I had to ask, like, is it okay to do this? Is it all right? And I think what I've heard you directly say to clients at times is like, if you want to do it, we can try. Like, if you want to do it, we can try. It feels very much in the spirit of how you do this work with clients. So,
Well, good. I'm glad there's some consistency. And I agree with the sentiment. There's a lot of people that think there's a right way to do it. This is, and maybe that's because bigger companies that I've had the good fortune to work at have processes and systems built in place, and they're trying to fit the clients and the projects into those systems,
yeah.
and it becomes formulaic. We obviously have process and systems too to help guide people through what can be a very complicated process. But when we lead with empathy and lead with fun, two of our core values, what comes out is I don't have a big enough ego. I have a big ego, but not a big enough ego to say, I know what's better for your house than you do. So if you have something that you're interested in exploring, let's create the time and the emotional space to explore it and see if it's worthwhile. And if it is, then great. We just landed on something that's super exciting for you and your family. And it's not, then you can say, hey, look, we checked it out, we tried it, and now I can move forward knowing that this wasn't the right solution.
Yeah, like you do get some room to experiment a little bit. Like it doesn't, I don't know, the stakes seem high, but it's not life or death. Is this whole process, like the home design process, I don't know, when you start working with people, does it feel like it being fun is a foreign concept to folks? Because as we're talking about it, that's just something I'm like, as much as we talk about fun and we talk about this is like a creative process. It shouldn't be, I don't know, it shouldn't be, it is an extra stressor. There are stressors involved, but there should be like joy in this experience. But do you find that people are surprised by that?
Most people that start the process to remodel have been thinking about it for years. And the reason they didn't start earlier is the scary, overwhelming feeling of what am I getting myself into? So I think the direct answer to your question is no. People don't expect that it will be fun.
Yeah.
Once we start working together, then people understand it can be, and it is, but it takes that initial meeting before their clients, maybe even one, what we call an inspiration meeting, to understand what's in your head, homeowner, like, what, if anything, in terms of a vision for how you want to use this space. So sometimes right at that meeting, it starts to be fun. And I make, as you know, so many dumb jokes. And as our listeners and viewers will know, there will be no shortage of terrible, terrible jokes. But it changes what those meetings are, right? They're there for a purpose. I make more than I normally would, I guess is what I'm saying. In my normal day-to-day life, I do make dumb, stupid jokes, but I make more dumb, stupid jokes in professional settings, specifically so people have the permission to have fun in the meetings. Because if you ask somebody about the remodeling industry, we don't have a great reputation. It's going to cost twice as much as I thought it was going to cost. It's going to take twice as long as I thought it was going to take. And that's that overwhelm and the fear that a lot of people have before they start.
Hmm.
So it takes a little bit, some people more than others, to get over that nervousness. So my hope is that pretty early on, when we're actually working with people, they understand that it is supposed to be fun. They're allowed to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really, it's hitting different in this podcast setting as we're talking about it, even though it's something like people should know. We literally talk about this all the time. It's like it comes up in staff meetings. It is a part of conversations. It isn't just a value that's printed somewhere on our marketing. Um, in that spirit, do you have any good jokes that you'd like to share today?
Katie putting me on the spot. I will tell you my favorite joke, and it's my favorite joke because it's the first joke that my daughter ever told.
Okay.
So Emerson is 13. I have a son, Macklin, but this is the first joke that Emerson ever told.
Hmm.
What do you call a three-humped camel?
I legitimately don't know. What do you call a three-humped camel?
Pregnant.
It came to me as I was saying it. Oh, how old was she when she told you that?
So young.
So
Preschool?
little.
Preschool?
Oh my gosh. And did she get a kick out of it?
Yeah.
First, actually, good jokes are amazing.
Okay, your turn.
Well, I have one that my kid tells, but I'm gonna mess it up. Um, okay. Um, what? Okay, I actually legitimately think I'm gonna mess this up. This is, yeah. Here we go. Why do seagulls fly over the ocean?
I don't know.
Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be bagels. I told you, dumb smart. Like,
You got there.
da 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 da. Ha. Amazing. Amazing.
That's what the
Um,
people are here for, our bad jokes.
for the bad jokes. And you mentioned we have a comic strip and people should go check that out too. I don't know if in this podcast we can link things, but we should link it if we can. If we're going to link it, there's going to be a link appearing as I say this right now. Ha, it might be right here. It might
It,
not be. If it's not,
we'll find out. The people on Spotify or
who are listening,
yeah, they don't know. So
they're
where
here.
where can they go to see the comic strip?
They can go to designedhappy.com/blog and they can scroll until they find Nailed It, the comic. Um, or they could go to our website and on the bottom menu, click subscribe to newsletter, and then they will get to see the comic before we even put it on the blog. It's pretty
Ooh,
exclusive, so
early access. That's
they
something.
probably they probably want to they probably want to do that. Um, to go back to it being personal, to go back to this being personal, we work together, but we work together because we've known each other since our days at that school in DC. Do you remember the first time we met each other?
I don't. Do you?
No, neither do I. No, not at all. But that was like a backstory prompt question. And I was like, I don't think we can answer that.
I don't think we can either. I'm assuming you and I met because of your husband. I
Yes.
don't think we met before that.
No. I and I do remember seeing you all playing at a show, but it was at the dining hall with the funny name. Can I say it?
Yeah, of course. Why can't you say?
I don't know. Because you're not naming the school. So
Well, oh, I don't. We can name it. We went to the Catholic University of America.
there we go. And this show was at the Prisbla. Which could we have a whole episode on the Prisbla as a from an architect's perspective, from a designer's perspective?
Sure, we can.
Not a rhetorical question, actually asking. I
If
do
the
have to ask permission here.
if the people want it, we can. But so at a
So,
show, there's a lot that no one understands of what you just said. So,
okay,
so
okay. Backstory. So at Catholic University, they built this new dining hall slash student center on campus, which was a very, in contrast to like all of the other architecture on campus, was a very modern looking building. Anyway, it became one of the new dining halls and had like the bookstore, had I guess it had two dining halls in
it
it.
did.
This is not why we're here.
It's not.
But you and Mark played there, and because I remember seeing you there. I don't remember you before that.
Okay. Well, you got something. You have more than me, because
Okay.
I don't remember the first time. So I was Mark's RA, and
Oh, okay.
then Mark and I both
I
play
thought,
music,
oh yeah, that would make sense that you were.
and then Mark and I had a band. So
Yes.
that's the show you're referring to. Mark and I had a band with two other people, and we played music.
Yes.
And one of the, I guess we played at CUA several times, a whole
Yes.
bunch of times. So that's your first memory of me, and I feel terrible because I don't have a first, I don't have a reciprocal story. But
After after that, it cuts to that you and your lovely wife Kat graduated a year before I did, and you all moved to Baltimore.
we did.
And then after I graduated, Mark and I moved right down the street from you in Baltimore. And so my next memory is of us taking your old dining table, and rolling it literally down Charles Street in Baltimore. What I can't remember is how we got it up to our place because we lived on the third floor of a very narrow walk up.
Yeah,
No, so that's my next memory.
I remember that as well.
You were all incredibly generous and helped us feel very at home after we followed you to Baltimore. So that's what it cuts to after that. And the rest is history. And now we have a podcast.
We do, which is great because there aren't enough podcasts in the world. So I'm glad we can fill this podcast void.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. But back to your original point that we are going to fill a void here of, yes, we're talking about home design and architecture, but more about like the actual human experiences within that. And maybe the world does not need more podcasts, but I think the world does need us to talk more about like actual human experiences. So you don't want to miss it.
You don't.
You don't.
And I'm super excited to do this with you because, as you've heard me say, I make a stupid joke all the time with clients because it's not always the easiest process emotionally for them, especially if they have different opinions. We have talked internally about how a remodeling project with a couple is actually two remodels.
Yes.
And it's not always easy to reconcile those two things. So I make a dumb joke all the time when that reconciliation doesn't happen the way everyone's hoping it happens, that I spent years and years and years over a drafting table trying to learn about design and proportion, and I really should have been taking marriage counseling classes. And it breaks the tension a little bit and we get a good chuckle, but it's really nice for me to have someone who actually knows what they're talking about in this space to participate in everything that we're doing and professionally fill that space here, because I talk about it in my dumb way that I've just kind of figured out, but you actually know what you're talking about.
For the most part. Yeah, I think thank you. And I am excited too. A little nervous because I think there is so much about what we do at Designed Happy that is based in psychology, and we could end up having like 3-hour episodes. So I will try. If you can be mindful of the dumb jokes, I'll be mindful of the DSM and APA journal talk. Because I do think there's so much of it that is psychology. And I think that is why what we're doing at Designed Happy is worthwhile and like working because you really center the humans involved, and that while it is a project that has layers of like permits and picking cabinets and at gradation and all of that stuff. There is so much of it that is just about like people, people being creative and people moving through a new process for a lot of them, a new experience. It's kind of fascinating that you can be working with people who have done so much in their lives, but maybe have never designed a home. So I'm excited too. I'm excited too.
Good.
Should
So
Should we give a taste of some things we're going to be talking about in upcoming episodes?
great. Yeah, we should.
Okay. We will be talking about the the thing nobody wants to talk about or feels like awkward talking about. I'd say nobody, but not you, TJ. You like talking about this, like talking about people's budgets, talking about money. We're gonna talk about how you talk about money, which is actually another thing I love talking about, even psychologically. We are going to talk about what is, you know, the myth of a stress-free remodel, and I think we're going to get into there that remodeling and designing or building a home is a process that inherently involves stress. Again, psychologically, what I'm interested in is like the difference between stress and distress. And just because there is stress as a part of the process doesn't mean everything should be distressing about the process. And we're also going to talk about how to remodel without ruining your relationship in the future. But our next episode, after this, what I think is just a magnificent success, after this kickoff, is starting where you start with clients, which is their why. And actually seeing that as before you get into contracts and first drafts and design models, the why being the most important part of the process, at least starting the process.
It feels like an appropriate place for our first proper episode because every good remodel starts with why. So that's where our series should start as well.
Yeah, isn't that smart? Isn't that smart of us to design it that way? Look at that. I'm like getting curious and about to ask you questions about
Save it.
that. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to,
Save it. Because
I'm going to,
our promise to the people, you and I decided that these episodes are going to be easy to digest. So somewhere around 30 minutes, which is right about where we are right now.
it really
So
is.
it really is. So you're on your Peloton, you're on the
You're
Beltway, you're on,
walking your cat.
as people do. Yeah.
You're cooking dinner.
So we'll be in your feed, whether it's a podcast or a video, once a week for about 30 minutes.
Yep.
And we're going to try to bring a really fun approach to something that is normally pretty serious. So, like all the other people, like and subscribe and those things. But more importantly, it's really hard for us to know when someone else is looking to do a project. And my mission in life is to raise the bar for our industry so fewer people have the bad experiences that you hear about. So this is like Jerry Maguire. Help me help you. So if you know someone who's thinking about remodeling, whether it's in a week or a year, the second you, dear listener, hear someone say, "Oh my God, my kitchen is driving me nuts and I can't have one more Thanksgiving here," or, "Oh, it would be so nice if we had a screen porch and a pool," or "We got to knock this house down and start over."
Yep.
Please share this podcast with them because we want them to have the best experience possible. And education is the easiest way to help them have a great experience. So we want to be there for them.
No better way to end it. That was beautiful.
Oh, chef's kiss from Katie.
Do it. You heard him. Share this episode and the next one and the one after that. I love it.
Love it.
Okay.
See you next
That's all
time.
we've got. Till next time.
Bye-bye.